let's look at your 4 documents: open space, the U and World Cafe, and AI. Okay, open space technology. The goal of an open space technology meeting. Let me tell you the founding of the open space technology by this person called Harrison Owen, although he refuses to be called a founder. He did many conferences, as I know many of you have done as well. And he said, when he looked at all these conferences and seminars, he sees that the most energy is during the breaks. Most people chatting, generating ideas, going to where they're passionate about something is during the breaks. It's like, oh, what up, all the plenary and blah, blah, blah. It's like too rigid, too stiff. He said, why don't we make events that are just like breaks all the time? Just one long break. And people go where they want to go based on what they're interested in. So that was the birth of open space technology. So it's a meeting to create time and space for people to engage deeply and creatively around issues of concern to them. The agenda is set by people with the power and desire to see it through. So I'm not going to set it for somebody else. Those people who are interested in that issue, say Padi or Kerbau, they set it. Typically, open space meetings result in transformative experiences for the individuals and groups involved. It is a simple and powerful way to catalyze effective working conversations and to truly invite organizations to thrive in times of swirling change. It's useful in almost any context, including strategic direction setting, envisioning the future, conflict resolution, morale building, consultation with stakeholders, community planning, collaboration, and deep learning about issues and perspectives. It's an excellent format for any situation in which there is a real issue of concern, diversity of players, complexity of elements, presence of passion, including conflict, and a need for a quick decision. It can be used in groups of 10 to 1,000 and probably larger. I've been in groups of 1,000. It's important to give enough time and space for several sessions to occur. The outcomes can be dramatic when a group uses its passions and responsibility and is given the time to make something happen. There's only got one law, which is the law of 2 feet. If you find yourself in a situation where you are not contributing or learning, move somewhere where you can. Follow your passion and take your responsibility. So there are 2 cornerstones: passion and responsibility. You can't just be passionate when we like, yeah, good luck, bye. I'm passionate about that and I'm going to take responsibility for it as well. Principles of open space. Whoever comes are the right people. So meaning, if I convene and I say, I want to talk about, I don't know, sustainable fashion. And then a bunch of you are like, yeah, love that. Been interested in that. Then you're all gonna come to my session. So whoever comes are the right people. Someone with no interest, Linkit's not gonna come. Although Linkit might be interested in sustainable fashion, but he may not come, which is fine, because if he's not, he's like, what's he gonna do, right? But if even 5 people come and they're like on fire about sustainable passion, the group's gonna meletup. I mean, in a good way, right? It could be 50 people, but 45 just don't give a shit about sustainable fashion. It will actually drag the 5 people down. So whoever comes are the right people. Whenever it starts, it's the right time. So everybody suddenly gathers, 5 people come. We chit chat first. We're like, I've been following this Instagram handle and they're always talking great, good information about sustainable. We haven't started our discussion yet. And then 10 minutes later, we start. That's the right time. Whatever happens is the only thing that could have. So we talk for an hour because we're so excited about it and so passionate about it and really want to take responsibility. We have a plan in an hour. And we're like, we want to build this movement. And whatever else we decide to do. So whatever happens is the only thing that could have. Or, like I said, out of 50 people, only 5. And you would say, well, whoever comes is the right people. And whatever we do, whether we finish in an hour and have a plan, or we decide to go on a retreat for 5 days, that's the only thing that could have happened based on the passion and responsibility of those people. And when it's over, it's over. So there's no point to say our agenda is till 5 p.m. and we're going to keep talking about it even though we have nothing else to say. Because when you're passionate about something and you want to take responsibility about something, it will be like this, it will be like popping and energy will be, just flowing. When you're developing the idea. Of course, you don't always continue that way. And then that is where responsibility and hanging in there and all these things are important to, sustain your work. The 4 principles and the law work to create a powerful event motivated by the passion and bounded by the responsibility of the participants. So these 2 things are really twins, passion and responsibility. Roles in open space. There's a host. The host will announce and host the workshop. There are participants. Everybody knows that they're coming to an open space session. There's a bumblebee. Do you see the drawing there? Bumblebee and butterflies. Bumblebee likes to go between sessions and cross-pollinate. So like here's talking about sustainable fashion. There's talking about what? Give me an idea.
Organic paint color for fabric.
Okay. Organic materials. So the bunch that are in the sustainable fashion and then a bunch over there. And then there'll be one person who likes to do both. And then it'll be the bumblebee. The cross-pollinate. It'll be like, over there they're talking about this and they said da-da-da-da-da. Great. Cross-pollinate and then it'll generate more ideas there. So this is the bumblebee. And then there's the butterfly. Butterfly, and they always say like social butterfly, like, la, 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 look, I look so nice. I'm just going to fly between. But that actually plays a function in the group. They're doing things at a different level. Like one open space I was at, I think the one where I met Carms and Victor, me and one guy who was a Filipino shaman decided to open a group that's just created a ritual space. So we did like this altar, blah, 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 got drums, got flowers, got massaging, we got masseuse and people like that. You don't know how to do this? You know how to do this? So in the whole big open space, like there were 15 different workshops. If people wanted to have a quiet time or a little back rub, they came to our ritual space. And they baring, they play some music. And then after that, when they all reflected, it's like, I love the ritual space. It was so nurturing to be able to have that in the midst of all the chaos and blah, blah, blah. So that's in a way a little bit like a butterfly. But actually a butterfly wouldn't even have a space. A butterfly would just fly around. Okay. The marketplace. So again, it is a circle, like we've had a circle. You will have boards like this. and it's a marketplace. And remember, there's only one law, the law of 2 feet. And then you have the 4 principles. Whoever comes is the right people. Whatever happens is the only thing that could have. Whenever it starts, it's the right time. When it's over, it's over. The group convenes in a circle. So we would convene in a circle. And Cynthia will say, welcome, la 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 la. We're going to talk about the circular economy. The facilitator, let's say a couple of you are the facilitators, you give an overview of the process and explains how it works. The facilitator invites people, so this is how it works. We'll invite people with issues of concern to come into the circle, write the issue on a piece of paper and announce it to the group. So we'll put a stack of A4 paper there, for example, and marker pens. And I say, we're talking about the circular economy. Feel free to pick up a sheet of paper based on any issue that you are, 1, passionate about, 2, want to take responsibility for. And I want to take responsibility for food. Someone says, I want to talk about energy, and I want to take responsibility for that. Someone says, I want to talk about architecture in the circular economy. So then, say here there's 25 or 28 of us, half might put issues up. That's 14 people. So then you just say, okay, I'm Cynthia, and I want to talk about sustainable fashion. Then Yogi says, I want to talk about watersheds. And Phoebe says, I want to talk about Sungai Sagama. And so you basically, you're the convener of that topic. Yeah. Then from there, each convener places their paper on the wall, yes, and chooses a time and a place to meet. This process continues until everything is done. So the 14 people all says, I want to do this, da da da, and then puts it on the wall. I want to do this, I put it on the wall. And then everyone's like, oh, all passions is out there already, okay? The group then breaks up and heads to the agenda wall, by now covered with a variety of sessions. Participants will take note of the time and place for sessions that they want to be involved in. Dialogue sessions convene for the rest of the meeting. Recorders, so rapporteurs, if you want to call them that, will be determined by each of those groups. Capture the important points and post the reports on the news wall. So there may be a news wall here. All of these reports will be harvested in some way and returned to the larger group. Following a closing or a break, the group might move into convergence. So then all the reports that you took here, you may want to converge, a process that takes the issues that have been discussed and attaches action plans to them. Meaning get them out of the room into action. Got it? The group then finishes the meeting with a closing circle where people are invited to share comments, insights, and commitments arising from the process. So you need a circle of chairs, letters or numbers around the room to indicate meeting locations. We'll talk about that in a minute. A blank wall that will become the agenda, a news wall for the recording and posting the results of the dialogue sessions, breakout spaces, so many breakout spaces for meetings, paper on the floor on which to write your sessions. You need markers, pencils, pens. You need a poster of the principles, which are those 4, and then the law of 2 feet, etc. And then how are you going to harvest? Okay, so when we did the RSPO roundtable in Medan some years ago, this was with Victor and Carms, there was 1,000 people. So imagine doing open space with 1,000 people. So it was in a huge ballroom. We had I think the circle was in 3 layers. So it was a circle, and then inside a circle, and then inside a circle. And there were Carmela, Victor, and it was like a team of 10 facilitators that I convened. So then we use open space. So you imagine lah there, wow, boom, meletup the marketplace. It was like, I don't know how many. We didn't use paper. We had to use placards, like when you go to a protest. So we had sheets this big. So you write, and then we placed it on the placard, and then you'll be like this. So Marcus Colchester, imagine Marcus Colchester, the FPIC, king of FPIC. I want to talk about FPIC. My room's over there. Okay, and then Wilma International says, we want to talk about controlling all the smallholders in Indonesia and Malaysia. A room's over there. So imagine, ada juga boycott masa tu, Greenpeace boycott. So sawit watch. Just like, wow, I'm sure I still have some pictures, but it was like a protest. Like all the people in the middle there with their placards. So this is the thing. When you have, because you don't know how many sessions will arise. Sometimes it could, like, I can't remember how many arise there. Maybe 40, maybe something like that. I can't remember. So we had to have, with the hotel, we had to have so many breakout rooms organized. Breakout room 1, 2, 3, 4, and then flip charts, rapporteurs, well, all that, kan? And then you can't just say we're gonna have 40 sessions all simultaneously, because you don't have 40 rooms to start with. So you say, you start to, in the your agenda, you start to say, well, we only can do 10 at one time because we only have 10 rooms. Okay, so this 10 is from 10 to 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. This 10 is from 11:30 to 12:30. You see what I mean? So then you have to stagger them, depending on how many comes up and how many rooms you have. So those are the things you have to work with. So if it was here and we all did an open space session, say we want to talk about Forever Sagama was the topic, and Yogi says, I want to convene the discussion on livelihoods. Neville says, I want to convene the session on biodiversity conservation. Lingit says, I want to convene the session on waste disposal. Who else? Rizlan says, I want to convene the discussion on engagement with stakeholders. Okay, that's 4 sessions, right? We have 4 spaces. One could be here, one could be there, one could be there, one could be there. So you do have 4 sessions. So then we say, okay, you decide with the group, how long do you want to discuss this? 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes? Then that becomes the agenda. See what I mean? So then you guys, all the rest of you who didn't convene, you say, I'm passionate about this, I'm passionate about this, I'm passionate about that. But not just passionate, you're going to be responsible. And you write your name on it. And then the convener will say, we're meeting over there in Cafe Tangki at this time. Yeah? So then the convener cannot go anywhere. The convener is there in his session throughout. Is it an hour or whatever? Someone, you may yourself say, well, I'm a bumblebee. I'm interested in actually all sessions. Or I'm interested in these 2. Or you actually not interested really in any of them, but you care about the whole initiative. And you say, I'm going to go and pray over there. I'm going to pray for the success of the program. That's fine.
But we also like to talk a lot. They have so much input. That's what it's.
Yeah. Well, they will share and share and share because they are the pollinator. So you say, oh yeah, bincang sanahan, dia bilang blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, that's good information. So that helps our discussion over here. You see what I mean? And then the other thing, the law of 2 feet. The law of 2 feet means if Ryan was in Rizlan's thingy session, but he really wants to go and talk, wants to go to Lingit's group. He already finished all his contribution to that session, and it's just like, okay, exercising the law of 2 feet, I'm gonna go over there because he wants to contribute there. That's different from a bumblebee. And then he's also going to say, I'm going to be responsible in both of these. Does that make sense? Then once your discussion is finished, your documenter took down all the key points that was discussed. We decided that these are the key issues, these are the key recommendations, these are the key next steps. Then they said here, there could be another point where you share that, or you put your report on the report board, and then we may all sit down here all together again, and we may look at them, and then we may harvest from them to converge all the 4 things, right? So then you got this content, this content, this content, this content, that actually was already from everybody's brains, from all the people who were passionate and want to take responsibility for those issues. And then you converge and you turn it all into an action plan. And then you put some timeline to it. We will do this in 3 months. We will do this in 6 months. Let's see. Any questions? Some of you have studied it, learned it. Some of you have done it. Some of you, maybe it's new. So any questions?
Yeah. Is that the butterfly?
The butterfly, he could be flying beautifully and gracefully around the groups, bringing beauty, bringing the presence of spirit or whatever. No, not talking. Bumblebee cross-pollinates, because that's when you want to contribute to a few groups, or you already see on when it's on the agenda, you're like, Allah, semua saya suka ni. Then you prioritize your time and you say, I'm going to go there first, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go there. But you will tell people like, okay, I've actually signed up for all the sessions. And then, but the convener doesn't go anywhere. Convener stays. Remember the Southeast Asia? Who's at the Southeast? Only a few of you. Remember CREPA, Southeast Asia Renewable Energy People's Assembly with Carmela? We did an open space session. It's crazy. 100 and how many people? Yeah. So imagine 1,000 people. But amazing. The energy is really amazing. And then you have to be really comfortable with chaos. So I remember when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, what was I thinking? This is insane. But then you hear back from people that were like, oh, it's so cool being able to have our say.
Like we divide ourselves, maybe 5. And then suddenly you say, okay, I want to listen to this. But then you skip to the next one, you become a butterfly, right? But what happens if all of us kind of want to be a butterfly? Then, or do you say you will have to come to this conclusion, or have some kind of thing first before you can move? Is that it? Or, imagine if you think, look, see, okay, I like, but then you go to the next one.
Yeah, there, again, going back to the 2 key things of passion and responsibility. You can't hide behind being a butterfly.
Right.
Just like, oh, I'm going to be a butterfly. Just like, well, okay, then if that person is fluffy, then, okay, be fluffy because that probably means that person is not going to contribute much to your group anyway,
Yeah.
but probably is really adding to the ambiance.
Decoration ba? Buka saja. Tapi kenapa
mean, these are the convergence of people, right? So everybody will come as a convener, as a host of that issue. So I want input from the people. I want to get supporter. And the other one is, they want to go and learn and participate and contribute. So dia sudah datang bah, ada punya jauh-jauh kan macam tu. Unless kebetulan, otherwise you won't spend money to fly all the way to.
Exactly. So to me, open space really believes in harnessing diversity, and knowing that everyone will have a passion about something different, and that people will operate best when they're in the place that they are most passionate about. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen sessions where that happen, or one person shows up. Sometimes an issue is ahead of its time. Like the person who's convening it is a visionary or whatever. It's fine. I've never really seen that they crumble and cry because nobody came to their session. In a way, you take a risk when you are not convene, and then, but I've never seen. I don't think I've seen it not work, even whether 10 or 1,000. Yeah.
I remember last time, the COP7 in KL, there's one caucus or session group, like only 5 people, but thousands of people went for the COP. Lebih.
They didn't want to go to that.
They're not interested on that topic.
The participants.
Yeah.
Only 5 came.
Yeah.
5 come to the station.
Yeah.
To one topic.
Kalau di conventional punya conference kan, sometimes you have to sit in agonizing pain to just wait for the session to finish, because kalau on the stage all boring punya presentation kan. So that's why they say the law of the 2 feet. You respect the process, but you also feel free to move if this session does not inspire you.
I remember early days of LEAP, one agency, we shall not name it, convened a bunch of us, like, I don't know how many people. It was like a conference or something. And then they did breakout groups, but they put the breakout groups on the agenda. So there was, I don't know how many, like 5 maybe, and then one was funding. So they put the breakout group there, funding, the other one. And then they put the names who are in that breakout group. So they already choose your name. And then so I saw my name, oh, I'm in the funding group, that's my name. Okay, so I just show up at the room. And then the facilitator, dia ada sudah satu form. They say, here are the things we need funding for. And here's a blank space. Please put your name there. So they scroll. We need ringgit 1 million for this. We need this. And then there's just like 8 of us in the room. Me, there was Jeremy Gun from Wilmar. There was somebody else like. So I was like, hang on a minute. You're asking us to put our name to that funding need, and then we have to go and raise that? Yeah. I was like, okay. Maybe we should do a bit of brainstorming. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel when somebody does that to me, I feel disrespected. I feel imposed on. I feel like, what do you think I am? I am just a money sign on my face? Like, that's the only reason you call me here. You see what I mean? So they can say about, you see, we put you in breakout groups. So to me, that is the opposite of open space. It's a closed space. Not as in a closed space, they put you in a form and they ask you to sign your name there.